Well, Razor, I haven't been drinking much lately. Every once in a while, I might take a little sip of something here or there. Not like a dry January, just for a long time. I haven't been really indulging I don't know. I guess it's a health thing. I'm not even sure why. I love beer. I love wine. Love a good vodka. Tonight's one night where I am fighting the urge, literally fighting the urge to go have maybe 3. I don't know why. Usually I eat my feelings, as we know. Now I'm thinking of having a drink, but I'm not. I had an apple and water. I'm pretty boring. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. I truly am not sure where I want to go with this one, Razor. I was actually thinking of having you host this show. I was like,
that'd be no fun. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be long. It wouldn't be long if I was hosting.
Well, maybe that's the key.
Yeah.
We just get out. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Post-game, Boston Bruins losing to the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo by the score of 7-2. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Whether you are running a cafe or just looking for a great cup of coffee at home, Fazenda Coffee Roasters, they've got you covered. You can check out the Morning Brew blend or some of the other great different blends that they have. Whole bean, they'll grind it for you. They got big bags, smaller bags, whatever you want. It's all crafted just for you. Cafes, bakeries, and restaurants carry it too. Check out fazendacoffee.com. And if specifically you want the Fazenda Coffee Morning Brew blend, go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. Check out the hats, the travel mugs, etc. Thank you to Fazenda Coffee. Speaking of Fazenda Coffee, I think we're going to have some travel mugs, some Clean Canteen travel mugs. And we're going to, I think, have some hats. Limited edition Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor hats at the Heritage Hall on Saturday to give away. So if you're going to the Bruins game, if you have a ticket to the Bruins game and you want to come say hi to us pregame, we're going to do a special live Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor pregame from Heritage Hall, the new venue that is all things Bruins history, their heritage. It's got some interactive stuff as well. It is worth the price of admission. It's $20 admission, but also it's about a 45-minute tour of the place, but you can come hang with us. Maybe we'll take some questions from fans that are there too, and we'll have some giveaways. So check us out Saturday when the Boston Bruins take on the New York Rangers. Razor, you and I will be there along with Ryan, RC, from 2 to 2:45. Visit us, if I can spit it out, at Heritage Hall Saturday. All right, maybe it'll be a better result in that game than the one that we just saw, Razor. This was a tough one. And there have been many tough ones. The Bruins go into Buffalo after having gone 5-1-1 in their previous 7, but more than that, they've gone 2-0 in their previous 2, having given up just 1 goal, Razor. And this game started out somewhat well. They get a lead. Mason Lowry with a nice goal. They had some other chances. And then it was just like, poof, gonzo. What the hell happened, buddy? What happened?
Yeah. I mean, they started really well. They got the first goal. And then for whatever reason, they of all teams to do it against, it's really curious that it was the Buffalo Sabres that they took the foot off the gas both times they scored, and both times they scored, it was still a game. Buffalo's given up a bunch of leads, 2-goal leads in the third period. That certainly the second goal could have got them in play, and it would have felt a lot better if they lost 4-3 and had a chance 6-on-5 and it didn't go in. Like, that's how quickly this game turned too. Like, the feeling of it, the fifth goal
sucked.
Like, this wasn't the easiest game to play. Everybody's sick. You're in Buffalo. There's 4,000 people there. It's hard to get up for this one after a big weekend. And we're seeing these Tuesday night road games are difficult for this group. Nonetheless, like, you get to 4-2, if you push it 4-3 or get a point, like, just something like that would be fine. But instead you give up the fifth one, and it's just so careless for the third line to not get the puck in deep. It's so careless to have Lowry and Wotherspoon not take a penalty there at least. Like, do something hard.
You're talking the goal where Paterka goes right through them. in the neutral zone, actually at the blue line, basically just inside the blue line there. Not one, but two Bruins defensemen, as you mentioned, Witherspoon and Lowry. He like literally slices through them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So no, all in all, it's a loss is a loss, but again, they've added up these 7-2 ones have been I feel like we've seen more tonight or this year than we did since I've been working. Like there just wasn't a lot. There was one of these a year, and now we've got 5 or 6 or 7, whatever it is. So that's frustrating. That's concerning, but it's a but is that this might just be a different year, and that you're just trying to get in the playoffs. It's just different. You're going to grind to the end, and winning 60% is going to be good enough, not the 750 or 800 that we're used to.
13th time this year, partner, they've lost by 3 or more goals. I don't have the number for last year. I think it was 8. I could be wrong, so forgive me. I just don't remember it. I looked it up quickly, maybe 8 or 9, but 13th time this year. Significant mood swings for this team. You said it was interesting, like you do it against this team. Doesn't it come down to the fact that they just didn't respect it enough when it's all said and done? That internally, maybe they wouldn't admit it overtly, or they wouldn't say, we got this one. And I don't think they went into the game saying we're going to be fine, meaning like we don't have to show up. But yes, it's hard to show up, meaning on a Tuesday and everything that you said, but you still have to have this respect for it. They all said the right thing after the game. We talked about their offense. We know how they got high-skilled guys, but we didn't take it. We didn't do enough. It says to me that they didn't. They came in and maybe they didn't respect it enough when it's all said and done. They've put themselves in this position where every game matters now. Every single game matters. And what is it, Razor? 5 games left before the Four Nations break? Is that right? I have that right? 5?
Yeah.
4 or 5? 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
I got a feeling, man. I got a feeling that we're going to know. I think we're going to have a really good idea where this team is going to be at heading into Four Nations. I do. I mean, we could.
Well, they're going to be within a point or two of the playoffs either way, right? Like,
I don't know.
That's the thing. Like well, sure. If they lose 6 in a row, I mean, then yeah. But I don't. They're not going to lose 6 in a row. Yeah.
Don't you got a tough schedule?
The tough schedule is the easy part for these teams. We said last week was tough, and they won the 2 tough ones, right? It's
especially at home. Especially,
I don't. Again, I don't think they're going to lose 6 in a row. So,
I don't. I mean, it's I'm starting to feel like I don't have much feel for the team. I guess that's
well, that's okay, right? Like that's okay too. I think and I don't think there's anything wrong with just saying like, okay, what are we going to get today, and analyze it that way, right? And it's we've been able to like a clock set the defensive structure and the layers and everything to this team over the years, and it's just different this year. It's and so yeah, it's you gotta ride the roller coaster a little bit more.
Have you been on teams that were significantly better at home than on the road? It's always more comfortable playing at home, but that doesn't mean you're guaranteed wins. There is a pretty stark contrast, with they're 9-14-3 now on the road.
Yeah, it's pretty. This is more normal. Again, having being 10 games over 500 on the road isn't normal. This is
but you want to be 500 at least. You want to be 500.
You hope so. Yeah, you hope so. I don't know what all the it's easy to pull up the road records, but 500's really good. 500, you're really taking 500 on the road. Because again, it's hard to do. So, Ottawa's under 500. A team like Washington, 17-7. That's what makes them so good up top. Tampa Bay, we think they're a good team. They're 2 games under 500 on the road, right? So, If the Bruins can find a way to get to 500 at this point in the season now, if they win 5 more road games than they've lost on the back end, then they're in good shape.
This team still didn't have Hampus Lindholm or Charlie McAvoy. We think McAvoy is close. He's close. Maybe Thursday against Winnipeg. I got to think by Saturday. One of those 2 games, he's back. Lindholm, a little further out. They also didn't have Brendan Carlo, who has had a different year this year compared to the previous 2. It hasn't been the same. Yet, he's still one of your veteran, top 3 defensemen on this team. So they go into the lineup. Here are if you didn't get a chance to watch the game, folks, this is their D pairs that they had playing. Zadorov and Peak, Lowry and Wotherspoon, and Callahan and Osterley. Those are your 6D. Tough night for Peak and Zadorov. They're both -3. Now, it's a tough night for everybody, but in particular, they as focused, as disciplined, as on point as Nikita Zadorov was, we felt for the previous 2 games. That seemed to be the opposite in this one, Razor. Would you agree?
No, the back ends, it's a struggle bus when you don't have those top 3 guys, and again, that goes to the inconsistency we talked about. Like, I could find everybody 1,000 players that could play in the NHL for a week or for 8 days or 1 game or whatever it is. It's the ability to do it night after night after night, and the ability to play at 50% capacity and still get around in the NHL. Those are the guys who play 400, 600, 700 games. And again, the Bruins have a back end tonight of 2 or 3 guys that aren't going to get to the 400 game mark. They're just, that's just not in their game. So you see inconsistencies from what the big boys are. And again, they did a great job piecing things together over the weekend, but unfortunately weren't able to bring it on the road, and matchups are a little bit different. And it also, just kind of the way war on the 2 NHLers that they have, those guys are just in different spots on the ice and different players and different situations as well. That, again, tonight for today's show, it wasn't good enough.
Would you like to have seen somebody get a little pissed off? And I'm not talking with 8 seconds left, like whatever it was when Zadorov ended up hitting, who was it, Peterka there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that play, quite honestly. Like, I didn't get that. But I'm talking in game. I know Buffalo really doesn't have a fighter. I'm trying to think anybody there, but
yeah,
I don't feel like, and Marchand talked about, we didn't, meet their physicality after the game. He was on Nesson talking about it, and just part of the post-game scrum. I didn't think it was a particularly physical game, but I didn't see anybody from Boston trying to say, my give a heck meter is up here. I don't think that they were nearly, I know they weren't nearly as engaged. I don't think that they were as intense and as battle ready and battle necessary as Buffalo was in this one.
No, yeah, like, it was just one of those games where it was sleepy, and everyone was okay with just kind of getting through it. And again, the Bruins came out in the second. I thought they had fight there. I thought they battled hard. I thought they had a good 5 minutes, and then they backed off on the line. And Geekie went for a hit that tried to be too physical on the second goal. 2 guys on one. So I just felt more like it was just, that was the way the game was going to be played. Buffalo, to your point, doesn't have anybody that really stirs energy. Even their best player is a sleepy dude who can cruise around on the ice a lot of times. So
he can shoot.
Oh yeah, he can rip it. So no, it certainly wasn't a physical game, but it didn't feel like I didn't think at any point where I was like, oh, someone's got to go do something. It was just they needed to find a way to get a goal and make it 3-2 and get close that way.
Well, I agree. I mean, because Buffalo can be a very sleepy team as well, just in general.
Yeah, they're hard to get up to play.
They are, but they can't be. They can't be that hard to get up to play when you're the Boston Bruins and your goal is to make the playoffs. And while you're ahead points wise, points percentage wise, you're not ahead as teams have games in hand. They're running. I know that this was just game 52, so you got 30 games left, and it's not a lot of hockey. It's still enough hockey, though. Does that make sense, Razor? It's enough. It's enough hockey to do something, but it's not a lot. I mean, you're past the halfway point, but you're running out of runway if you keep having, the New Jersey moment, the Buffalo moment. We had a whole list of in post game, folks. If you saw post game, you saw some of these what we would call less than ideal losses. I don't remember the title of the graphic, against teams not at the time in their playoff position. So this isn't the first one the Bruins have had. They've had a number of those. You're running out of runway as far as I'm concerned. I'm not saying that the sky is completely fallen, but I'm saying it's getting dark at times for this team. And your point about them getting in, maybe that's just the way. I don't know. Doesn't it concern you they got 5 other teams that are trying to do the exact same thing when it's all said and done?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like the concern. I think this is, there's usually there's usually teams trying to get into the playoffs, and it's usually pretty difficult for teams. It hasn't been for the Bruins, but it is something that's difficult. And I think that, I think that I still like them more than I like Columbus. I still like them more than I like Montreal. And so, I think they find a way in. That I don't know. I keep thinking that way, even with these losses. Listen, everybody else lost tonight too. Like Chicago beats Tampa at home. So if we were doing the Tampa Bay podcast, Morning Brew, we'd be going on and on about how does Chicago come in and beat us? Like it's
what would we call it?
My point is that just like we don't always use context with what everyone else is doing as well. Like when you compare, right? Like we just went through those losses on the show, like all the playoff. Well, we could do that with all the other teams that are fighting in contention right now too. Washington, you don't do that. And when you're winning the conference and winning President's trophies, you don't do that. But the other 25 teams are doing it.
Yeah, last year you would do that with the Caps, right? The Bruins are basically the Capitals from last year. They basically are. That's
or the other wild card teams that have been in this position over the last 7 years. Like it's always tight down here. We just haven't recognized it because they've been at the top of the CN Tower.
Well, I'm trying to think of what we would name it if we were doing the Tampa Bay podcast. What kind of? We'd be warmer. We'd be definitely warmer. We wouldn't be preparing for another inch or 2 of snow. I'm kind of tired of it, even though we've had so little snow. I really don't.
Well, that's the other problem too, right? We're in this point where it's end of January and we're just like, we all need the break. We really do all need the break.
The condensed schedule has been tough on everybody.
Yeah, it is. There's no breathe. There hasn't been a breather where, we haven't done this at night or haven't talked. And so everything's kind of like stuck in there a little bit closer than usual. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which again has led to the unevenness because it's like the wins are great and then they go away really quickly. Like again, they're 5-1-1, but you don't even have time to really like appreciate it because you just remember like the loss only happened 4 days ago. And it was a bad loss. And then this one's a bad loss. So it's like hammering you, even though it's really not like the complete end of the world. You're not done like dinner.
Let's see. Morning Storm. Would that be? No, it's a bad name. I'm trying to think of what we would do if it was Tampa Pod. Maybe we'd actually have some outdoor pods too.
That would be nice. I would be certainly doing it from the pool side at this point tonight.
You would be at your house. You would have a pool. There's no doubt.
You-
Just about
Yep.
everybody does. I
Yep.
could see you having a nice place down in the Tampa area, 20, 25 minutes from the city. I could see that.
Yep.
I would try and get one of those places just downtown more. I like the city a little more.
Yeah.
Like I would do that. It'd be small because it would have to be. It's all I could afford. But I'd come to your house.
Afford a lot more there than here.
That's true. Okay. Well, we can dream about the weather.
Plan. Yeah, exactly.
That's
Oh, good dream.
Let's recognize our sponsor. Speaking of dream, if you got a house that you're
There
dreaming
you go.
a little bit.
If you're going to Florida, you've had enough of all of this, then sell your house or get construction done to your house before you sell your house.
Do that. You need to do that if you're going to move somewhere warm. And Graciano Construction is just the company to do it for you. They'll do just about everything you need, anything you could want, really. Serving Boston, the Greater Metro West area, other parts around Massachusetts too. You can just reach out to them. Talk to Doug Graciano and his crew. They will give you a free consultation. They will talk to you about everything you want to do. They'll make some suggestions, but most importantly, they'll listen to you and they'll do what you want to do. They somehow make doing these, home improvement projects pretty darn okay. And sometimes those can be pretty tough, but they're great. They're so respectful. Give them a call at 508-330-7589 or gracianoconstruction.com and to discuss, what you're looking to do, whether it is a full mega, renovation or some porch projects, a kitchen, whatever, bathrooms. They do great bathrooms. We've had a few done by them over the years. You want to check out Graciano Construction. GracianoConstruction.com or 508-330-7589. The other show sponsored tonight is Sparks Hockey. Razor, there's over 100,000 units of Sparks out there and making life so easy. So I had to get new skates. That's a whole nother story for another time. Holy smokes. Oh, you're left. It is funny. It's sad. So I'm skating in them tomorrow morning. And and my buddy helped me out and I got him baked, and thank you to Bauer. I mean, like, crazy story. Anyways, not worth getting into. I had to get new, and I'm miserable that I have to break in new skates again, Razor.
Your feet are gonna hurt tomorrow.
I have messed up feet from hockey, and so therefore now when I have skates for a while, I don't know if you ever had this with goalie skates or not, but like my heels are messed up and the sides of my foot, and I've like holes in the boots and everything like that. Just perfect. They're perfect circles, symmetrical circles in each one of my boots, or they were in each one of my boots. I'm missing one of my skates now. So now I've got to go through the process of breaking them again. Long story short, I had them all cleaned up. I had them baked and everything and sharpened. I think, though, I'm going to go downstairs right after the show, throw them in the Sparks, and give them one or two more passes, because new blades can always be interesting the first time you
double check. You feel much better double checking with that tonight for sure. Blast the Sparks up. I ordered some new wheels because the thing's been buzzing for like a month now with the outdoor rink. The kids have just ground. So I got home from Quebec. They're like, "Oh, it's the wheel, the wheel." I'm like, "Well, you can't tell me that the wheel is empty when the wheel is empty. I need a heads up. Like, I'm not just like, I can't, we need to order it like this. This is how this works, guys. You can't yell at me the day that it doesn't work anymore because the wheel is empty. You have to give me a heads up on this, crew." So
Decky giving it 8 passes each time. Probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I'm sure
thing.
It is. Yeah, like, dudes, you could just do this once. It would be fine on the outdoor. So yeah, who knows how many times they've been doing that.
You're going to be buying some new blades, some new steels. I have a hunch.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But it's the best. Sparks Machine's an absolute savior.
SparksHockey.com. Use the code BREW50, BRU50, $50 off. They also have other great deals on their site. All right, let's just quickly go over the game. This one is just, it's a tough one, as you said. It's just an ugly one.
Yeah, it feels like the one last week, New Jersey. It's the same thing where it's just like,
yeah. Well, let me ask
Lose
you. Let me
3-2. Just lose 3-2 and make it easier on everybody. Like that's
everybody. Exactly. Lowry gets his third goal of the season. A nice play coming out the left point in the first period. 12:44 is the goal. He makes a beautiful move, an inside out move, blasts not even a clapper, just like a punch slap shot below the glove of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to make it 1-0. But then there's a goal scored at the 13:39 mark. It's Tage Thompson, his 23rd, the first of 3 in this game for Thompson, who's going to get the goals 3 different ways, but he's just able to skate into it. And 4:43 of the second period, Thompson again, tic-tac-toe type of play. I mean, yeah, there's so many goals, Razor, right now. I'm getting confused on some of them right now. Quite honestly, the 4:43 mark, Thompson scores his 24th. Peterka scores his first of the game, 6:32 mark of the second period. Thompson completes the hat trick at 3:13 mark, his 25th goal of the season. Dahlin and Byram. I don't want to go through the goals in the sense of describing them. There's just too many of them. Marchand ends up getting a goal in the third period on the power play. You mentioned it much earlier in the show. That's his 18th of the season. It's 4-2 at the time. But at the 10:43 mark, so 30 seconds later, Peterka, that's the goal that you already talked about, the one where the puck doesn't get it deep into the offensive zone across the blue line. I think it was Poitras that doesn't get it, and then it goes back the other way. 2 defensemen right through. Peterka goes right through them. He puts in his 13th. He then gets an empty net goal where, by the way, he goes through 3 guys again, basically, Razor. In the defensive zone, the Bruins win the faceoff in the O zone, so Buffalo's in the D zone. Peterka jumps by a couple guys, gets down the ice, and he gets his hat trick. So 2 hat tricks in this game, Thompson and Peterka. And then Zach Benson at the 1947 mark ends up getting a power play goal after Zadorov took a very late, I don't know what he was doing, penalty, but roughing it.
Yeah, he's definitely leading the league again in PIMS. If he had fallen out, he got 12 more tonight. So he padded that tonight with that one at the end.
Yeah. It was him and Kastelik, right? He was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
By the way, Cole Koepke comes back in place tonight. Kastelik hadn't, still out. No update on him. Some numbers that I guess tell the story, I guess not. Charlie Coyle, Andrew Peak, Nikita Zadorov, Brad Marchand, all -3. Pastrnak -2. Poitras minus. I did not think that Matty Poitras had a good game at all. I thought I felt, Razor, this was kind of game that would be better for him.
Oh, it should be perfect for him.
Yeah.
And then playing near home, like he would have had family, friends. Buffalo's a big game for the Toronto kids because everyone can go easily. Yeah, no, that one, again, he had a good start when he first played his first few games, and now it's, it gets to be a grind again. So let's see if he can snap out of it. And he's been bumped up with Marchand. That was the whole idea to get him. You got to get points on that line.
Well, now he's got a mega test coming on Thursday when one of the best in the NHL come in. I'm going to be
down the middle.
Yes, whether it's Scheifele or Lowry, I'm very curious to see where the lines are for that game. Yeah. Bruins end up getting 27 shots in the game on net, 33 for the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know. I mean, the giveaways in the first period, the Bruins had 7 giveaways. They end up with 15 in the game. Too many. We talk about details. We talk about execution. Very, very little of it there. Let's talk Swayman real quick. There's a heavy shot by Peterka from outside the left face-off circle. That was Peterka's first goal, the one at 6:32. It was a rocket of a shot, and but from the angle and from distance, should Raycroft, holy smokes, it's time for me to go to bed. should Jeremy should have had that one. Oh my God.
Well,
now, as well as the Bruins played.
He'll definitely he's made that save numerous times, and he'll want that one back. That'll frustrate him a little bit, and just as much as anything else, the timing of it. They'd just gone down 2-1. If you keep that game 2-1 as long as you possibly can, you're going to win or get points out of it. So that one's frustrating as a goaltender. Any kind of shot, basically. When he gets beat with a shot down the wing like he did against Colorado the other day, it's like that's basically on the goalie now. I think all goalies have kind of succumbed to that. That's the expectation in this league. If you're the starter, if you're the guy, and again, Hellebuck doesn't give that goal up, and if he does, there's not 5 other ones in the game. So for me, that's the one. That's the only one really tonight. But it was the timing of it, and that just kind of allowed everything to snowball and have the Bruins chasing that much more, and that can be the frustrating part for the goalie room on that one tonight.
Yeah. The first one by Thompson, the clapper, he had no chance.
Hopefully it hits you, but he put it in a perfect spot. Yeah. That you're not reacting to that. You're not tracking the puck on that, where Peterka's you should be able to.
What about the one? And I mean, again, I'm just curious. I am not placing blame on. I just want to know what he could have done on the Peterka goal after.
Yeah, the one that went over
Spoon and
that one was
he leaning forward? Was it just
he
awkward?
went paddle down? He dropped his blocker, dropped his right shoulder. A lot of times you think that guy's going to go 5-hole. It's hard, right? Because you expect the players to like haul that guy down a little bit or slow him just a little bit, and differently and make a move. And that's why you kind of have to seal the ice. And Jeremy goes paddle down a lot of time to do that. But he just had enough time to go to his left or Jeremy's right and chip it over. So no, that wasn't. Usually he'd get something on that. Like he overcommitted on it, but at that point, he'd already made a few to keep them tight at that point.
It's quickly worth going over if folks didn't watch the end of the NESN pregame, which I'm going to guess a lot didn't. Just a hunch. The story when you get called up from Providence after the Bruins had given up, was it 8 goals in the game?
Yeah.
2 hat tricks as well.
Less than tonight, yeah. The last time the Bruins gave up 2 hat tricks was 2003.
Yep.
And I was in that year that was the 02-03 season. So I was up and down a lot that season. And that was the last time I was down and then up was the night after that or the day after. Steve Shields gave up 8 in Chicago to hat tricks, Daze and Steve Sullivan.
Eric Daze, what a big man.
You said it perfectly. Looks exactly like Brazeau.
But he scored more. I mean, he put up a lot of points.
He was an all-star. Yeah, no, he was. But again, that was a different time where you didn't have to be up and down the ice nearly as much. You could do a lot of damage in front, which was what Daze did. And so So I got called up the next day. Providence needed to get to Ottawa for the away game. Jeff Hackett was injured, and planes, trains, and automobiles to get to Ottawa. Providence to Ottawa doesn't work well. Try and fly in a flight, it doesn't work, or at least it didn't in 03. Mm-hmm. So end up getting to Ottawa and then come home for a day or two, and then we go out to Arizona and I got a text from Brant Berglund, who was the video coach at that time. Bergie said me he was dying laughing. We were in Arizona that year for a month and a half, it felt like, because we get to Arizona. We were there for 6 or 7 days, but within that time of me being called up after the double hat trick game, 8-9 days later, Robbie Ftorek fired. Mike O'Connell comes from GM to the bench. He brings up Mike Sullivan, lots of Irish Boston guys that I have to get Mike's right. Mike Sullivan gets called up from the minors to be OC's assistant coach. And then I lost to Arizona a couple days, 2-1. I lost to Arizona. And then
they were still Phoenix then, by the way.
Yeah. Phoenix. Yes, that's right. Phoenix Coyotes and Sean Burke. We lost. I remember losing 2-1 in the old building. That was the old building they still had there in the Sun West. Couple days later, beat LA in overtime, and then I got hurt in that game, and I blew my groin for 3 weeks at the end of the season. So there you go. And a very eventful March 2003 for me. That was all those memories spurred on by Eric Daze and Steve Sullivan, or Paterko and Thompson.
And by Paterka and Thompson, yeah. By the way, if you're wondering, that is the first game this year that in the NHL that there have been 2 hat tricks recorded in the same game. I got that confirmed.
It's kind of amazing it happens once a year, isn't it? Like, it's hard to do.
Guess. I mean, it is hard to do.
I guess with the empty netters now, though, like it's easier to feed guys.
Yeah, there's that, and I guess it's like, I don't want to call it playing the lottery, but the odds are, I mean, if it's going to happen, it'll happen once, and you just get, and every team's going to have those type of games both ways. So
kind
of the perfect storm comes together. All right. Went longer than I even thought we'd make it. The Yano meter is kicking in right now.
It was pretty good though. I was yawn more in post game than I did in this.
Yeah, Razor.
Yeah,
I'm starting to yawn. The eyes are starting to go. I'm going to go check the skates, pack the gear. I got a 6 a.m. wake up to be on the ice at 7. Yeah, that's all right. I'll get done, and then I get the pleasure of going on radio. So that
that'll be awesome.
Right after that, Razor and I will be back with another morning brew with Jaffe and Razor after the Winnipeg game. One of the best teams in the NHL, maybe the best team. Who knows? But one of the best teams for sure in the NHL coming to town. They're on a 3-game roadie. Hopefully the Bruins can turn things around, get back at it. And then Saturday, again, they have the New York Rangers at home. That is a national game, but Razor and I will be at Heritage Hall from 2 to 2:45, sitting down talking pregame Bruins Rangers and hanging out with you folks. We'll have some giveaways too for you. So come join us there. In the meantime, go have yourself an extra strong cup of coffee, because after that game where the Buffalo Sabres dominated the Bruins 7-2, I got a hunch you're going to need it. Talk to you next after Thursday.